You just heard Slow Down by Meso Extra, and at the top was Forgive the Mess by Project Bow, featuring Scarlet. Goons, Project Bow describes his music in a certain way. You said it off air. Do you remember what we were talking about?
Oh, yeah. He's like a Berlin producer, and
Yep.
he I think he kind of describes it as you've gone out for a good night, and post dance or post rave, you need some kind of transition music.
Yep.
And that's he calls it post rave party without heading home just yet.
You can sit down, but you're dancing while sitting down.
Yeah.
I really like that. That is very much how Tom and I listened.
Oh man, it's such a beautiful track too. Like, it's so complex and upbeat, but had that softer element.
Yeah.
That's a bit more palatable. That nice female vocal.
The Scarlett's voice coming in on there is what you want for the heart chakra.
For the heart chakra, man, open that thing up.
Headed back there, so you've thought someone was touching your third eye, mind chakra, and then you couldn't speak about that for 2 days, and then the Berlin raver dudes that you were hanging out with, they were feeling their heart chakra. How coming to the end of that month trip, what changes did you feel within yourself? You touched on happiness. What else?
Yeah, I just was more, obviously I was like, whoa, I'm an amateur at this. Cause but I felt, so much more consciously aware of just like decision making, and just being able to sit in stillness and be okay with that and think, but just let it go. And I felt like my processing was so much better. I was more efficient at doing things. Less is more.
Yep.
And the ability, when you're doing hard things or you're busy or you've got like a hectic to-do list, just sitting back and actually ticking it slowly is actually more productive than having the mind chatter. Yeah.
And from where I was sitting, or we were all sitting as players and as friends of Goons, you've come back and glowed up so hard, exercising flat out, reading books, fucking starting businesses. Like, you've just on a heater since you've been back, really. And it was so noticeable because, you're, like you're saying, you're sort of stuck in your life of reactivity, all of us, and stress and worry. And you come back and you were glowing. It was like everyone in the room would know that Goons has been on some kind of spiritual journey. It was like you couldn't not notice it, if you know what I mean. And I feel like since then you've just managed to keep building on that. Is that correct to say? You've noticed big changes in your life since you've had that journey? Yeah,
like it's obviously still work in progress, but it's definitely like I think I attend to mindfulness and meditation very regularly. I can't say I can sit and get an hour like I'd love to. I'd love to just be able to meditate all day. But trying to find time and trying to find how I can connect that habit with something, and I just try and move my body or do something for my mind. And music for me is huge for meditation. Yeah.
So what? Because it like you said, you'd love to be able to do it for the hour all day, but it sometimes, like with the day-to-day and being reactive, like I'd love that word he said just before, Tom, like going back to your reactive lifestyle. How have you sort of implemented those skills?
Yeah, I think it's like just connecting it with something. So it's like you think about like, people might wake up in the morning and before they even got out of bed, they've seen like someone slip over in a puddle. Someone's riding a unicycle.
It's so bad.
Like you see 15 videos of different things from around the world, and you just go, whoa, and you haven't even like stepped out of bed yet. So it's I feel for me it's just connecting mindfulness with things. So like, driving, meditate. I listen to a lot of music for as a meditative state. Yeah, and I find that takes me to a point where sometimes I'm not thinking about anything. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's pretty profound stuff. And so it's more not just about the practice, but having an object to it, right?
Yeah.
So you've learnt the skill. Now you bring it to football, to conversation, to music. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and even just like so when I get time for myself, maybe in the gym in the morning, I'll try and connect some sort of meditation and try and clear the mind as well as moving.
While you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
And what are, if you don't mind me asking it, I'll get off the meditation chat soon. What are some of your favourite styles? Like, what are some of the things you know? What would the guru teach you?
Yeah, so a lot. We did a heap of meditation. But I loved obviously the music. There was two that was super random. There was a gibberish one, and
I've heard about this gibberish.
Yeah,
Gibberish
happy
meditation.
baby. These two were So in silence, we learnt gibberish meditation, and like a happy baby. So the idea behind it is that you connect back to your child self and go back to any childhood trauma or connection issues when you're a kid. Or the gibberish is we're consciously hanging out now, but there's the subconscious, and then there's the like unconscious state, and we can never really obviously tap into that. And so the gibberish is, the idea behind it is that you sit in a room for, I think we were doing it for like 20 minutes, where you're just making noise, sounds, and yelling. You could do anything. You could act. You could run around the room if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And just get noise out, kind of like someone like insane, because you're tapping into your unconscious level.
And what were you experiencing when you were gibbering and you were letting it all just come out of you?
Yes. Well, you feel a bit
Unusual.
Unusual. You feel a bit like, what am I doing? And like
The
have to look at a
embarrassment
wall.
chakra
Yeah, I have to look at a
firing.
wall like I'm
What
hiding.
days, sorry, did you start this?
This was in silence, so we got taught this meditation in silence. So I couldn't talk to anyone.
So it's still that was the way you could speak without speaking.
Yeah, so we can obviously do
essentially.
the practice, but we couldn't engage with our friends in the class.
Yeah.
But in saying that was post gibberish, was when I had my third eye energy experience.
Right.
Yeah. It's a.
Was there a sound you like naturally gravitated to make?
No,
And can you show us it?
No, it's more. He kind of encouraged us to kind of make like pick the alphabet and like in vowels and things like that, and try and make sounds off that. Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, because my mind went straight to like Crazy Cat Lady off
Yes.
The Simpsons. Like, blah, 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 and you're
Literally.
running around the room.
That's exactly it.
Crazy.
Yeah, you could do that.
And then it was after that
It
you
was after that. Yeah, it must have just cleared everything out, so it was good.
amazing.
That
Tom,
is amazing.
Yes. Walking meditation was something that you've tapped into when you went on a trip to Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So, I must have spoken to Dill about that. Have I? Is that how
shout
you know
out
about that?
That's
Shout
where
out
I
Dill.
heard this one.
Yeah. So when I went to Sri Lanka and stayed at the monastery, I asked the guru about. It sounds like a pretty similar thing to Goons, but way less intense. But I had these sort of one-on-one sessions where I say, this is a problem in my life, in terms of this takes up mental space of mine, and I worry about it, and I know it's irrational, but this is how I feel. And he gave me this discourse on how, the mind is an organ, and when your eyes start faltering and you're blind, do you worry about it, or do you expect that? Like, should your eyes never get bad when you're old? And he just kind of talked about the mind as an organ, the mind as a thing, and how it's okay for it to be faulty, and you don't need to trust everything you see in that respect. But immediately afterwards, we had this really great discussion. Must have gone for 3.5 hours, and I'd spoken to him about my career in football, and he said, I've got to show you this meditation because we're doing these static practices. One of them was called to speak to your lovey baby one. What was that called? The child baby meditation.
Oh yeah, baby, yeah.
He showed me this one called the love and kindness meditation.
Yep. Yeah.
And you say something like, love and kindness for everyone, and love and kindness is great. But what you actually do is you imagine yourself to be a big ball of love. Like, you feel the emotion. So you sit there and you're like, love, what's that feel like? Love and kindness. And it has this particular flavour to it. It has an emotion. And when you focus on the feeling, it's sort of, you perceive it to get bigger. And so you're sitting there with this monkey showing you how to make yourself into this big ball of love and kindness. And you're kind of emitting that feeling. And so he goes, look, you've been doing all these very static type meditations. I need to show you one that's really good for flow state. And it was called the walking meditation, or that's what I termed it with great academia. And it was about a 25-meter walk, and yeah, it was like, right, what we're starting with is the soles of your feet. There's nothing else but just the feeling on your soles of your feet. You're not in a rush to get there. Let's walk. And so we just sort of walked really slowly next to each other, sort of one foot in front of the other, and it was just the soles of my feet. And you get to the end and, you know, like turn around in a kind of slow mechanical way, feeling the soles of your feet and back. And went, you know, back and forth for
How
a long
long's that
time.
distance?
Let's say 20 meters,
Yep.
like sort of here to the end of the hall and back. And yeah, after let's say the third rep, it was like my whole feet and my ankles. I could feel every hair on them. You know, you could feel them because you had your attention there for a while. And effectively, he stopped and I walked back and forth up and down this hall for hours.
How long is hours?
Oh, look, like an hour, 2
Yep.
hours.
Yep.
Not 5 or 7.
Yeah,
like
not going goon spec.
No, my third eye is still closed. But yeah, we walked back and forth, and yeah, eventually you realise that I haven't even been here. I have not even been in this consciousness. I've been in my legs and my knees. I've been a knee and a thigh for the last hour. Or again, I've just been reeling my fingers, and you kind of realise that you don't have the wheel there for a bit. And then when you realise that, I think that's the start of you going, oh, hang on a sec, this isn't, or yeah, it doesn't seem to be just this uniform, normal experience, consciousness all the time, because I can have this experience that shows that that's not true. And I just, you know, was, who knows, having borderline out-of-body experience, or in a different time or place. And then once you realise what you're doing, you go, oh, hang on a sec, that is just crazy. And I think it's transformative. And I really found a few days in a monastery with a guru to help you and to explain to you and to teach you the skill, so then you can apply it, all in the name of, you know, trying to make your life fun and good and appreciating the good parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can interject in your mind and be like, no, this is good, this is fine, let's think about this, rather than being reactive and passive all day.
That's special. I want to go to that playlist now. Tom, you've got some songs in there.
I got some songs. I got the
songs,
aux.
Songs that passing the aux to you, Tom. Songs that remind you of goons. On the massage table, hanging out, or whatever. But thanks for sharing that. That was sick.
No, my pleasure. Hopefully, I can do that a bit of justice with some tracks for you, goons.
Can't wait.